At Ryan's favorite upscale bar, sitting at the counter, I was sipping whiskey, listening to the stories of my manager, Ryan. My name is Tony. I work in sales, and not to toot my own horn, but I've been performing quite well. I've won the monthly #1 award several times, and last year, I even snagged the President's Award. Thanks to that, Ryan seems to have taken a liking to me. Today, we're celebrating a successful presentation with a client, and Ryan's treating me to drinks. Ryan mostly talks about work, but sometimes he shares stories about his family too. He knows I don't have a girlfriend. It's not that I'm not interested in love, but, as the saying goes, my job has been my girlfriend. Hey, Tony, have you ever thought about going on a matchmaking date? Suddenly, Ryan brought up such an idea. A matchmaking date, really? Yeah, she's the daughter of a big corporation CEO. With a background like that, she could find someone much better than me, couldn't she? The thing is, no matter how good the suitors her family brings, she doesn't seem to say yes. She's been through dozens of matchmaking dates. But with you, you're quite the handsome guy and competent at work. Plus, you're a good person, so maybe she'll take a liking to you. I couldn't help but feel flattered by his praise. Besides, being set up with a CEO's daughter isn't something that happens every day. So, with nothing to lose, I agreed to the matchmaking date. When I saw her picture, she was beautiful but seemed to have a strong-willed expression. On the day of the matchmaking date, I wore the most expensive suit I owned and headed to the high-end restaurant. There, just like in the photo, sat a beautiful woman in a vibrant dress. Next to her was an elderly gentleman, her father, Mr. Cooper, the CEO of a major electronics company. Tony, please sit here. Ryan directed me to sit opposite the lady. She was staring intently at me. I looked at her face too. In that moment, I was instantly captivated by the beauty and intelligence in her eyes. Her name was Sarah. After the introductions and greetings, the meal was served, but I was too nervous to taste anything. Then, Mr. Cooper asked me, Tony, do you like kids? Kids, I don't dislike them, but I haven't had much interaction with them to say if I like them or not. However, I do want kids of my own someday. Mr. Cooper laughed heartily at my response. Well, that's an honest answer. Then he pointed to his daughter and said, The thing is, she has a 7-year-old daughter. I see, that's what this is about. Having a child must be why her marriage arrangements were complicated. According to Mr. Cooper, Sarah had a boyfriend 7 years ago, but he tragically died in an accident. At that time, she was pregnant. Afterward, against her parents' wishes, she decided to have the baby. After the meal, Mr. Cooper and Ryan left first, leaving Sarah and me alone. Feeling incredibly nervous, I was trying to think of what to talk about. Then, Sarah suddenly made a surprising request. I have a favor to ask. Could you pretend to be in a relationship with me? Pretend to be in a relationship. Why? She answered quietly. I still haven't gotten over my deceased boyfriend, so I have no intention of marrying anyone, but my parents want me to marry soon and keep setting up matchmaking dates, which has become a hassle. If I pretend to be in a relationship with you, they won't arrange any more dates. I know it's rude to ask this of you, but she said this while looking down. So that was it. That's why Ryan mentioned she wasn't progressing with any suitors. I understood her situation. Of course, I'll compensate you, she said. After some thought, I agreed to her proposal. All right, I'll do it. Really, thank you so much, she smiled brightly. It wasn't for the compensation that I accepted her proposal. I realized I had completely fallen for her in just this short time. It might have been love at first sight, but it was her determination and sincerity that especially drew me to her. It was the first time I felt this way. And so, I secretly harbored a hope in my heart. Even if it's just pretend for now. I'll take my time and try to make her genuinely fall for me. It doesn't matter if she has a child. I thought it would be a joy to have a child, even if we're not related by blood. When I got home that day, I contacted Ryan and told him the date went well. Ryan was overjoyed. Later, I arranged a date with Sarah. Even if it's a fake relationship, we should go on at least one date, right? Otherwise, your parents might get suspicious. Saying that, I asked her out and she agreed. When we met up, she brought her daughter along. Her daughter's name is Casey, she told me. Casey was very honest, energetic, and adorable. The three of us went to the zoo that day. We saw many animals, and Casey was having a blast. Look at the bear, he's cool. Next, let's see the elephants. Yes, let's do that. Sarah was somewhat aloof towards me, but her eyes were gentle and filled with love when she looked at Casey. After leaving the zoo, we had dinner at a restaurant. While Sarah was away at the restroom, I chatted with Casey. Do you like animals, Casey? Yeah, I do. What else do you like? Any favorite TV shows? I like Avengers. Casey said this with a bright smile. Avengers? I couldn't help but rejoice internally. Well, I actually like Avengers too. I've kept it a secret at work, but I'm actually a big fan of special effects heroes, and I watch Avengers every week. I even collect the suits and DVDs. Really? You like Avengers too? Casey's eyes sparkled with excitement. My friends, they all say I'm weird. A girl liking Avengers, that's odd. That's not true at all. It's not weird. What you like isn't about being a boy or a girl, and it's okay to be different. Look, I'm an adult and I like Avengers. Do you think that's weird? When I said that, Casey shook her head. Nope, because Avengers are cool. I nodded in agreement. That day, Casey and I became fast friends. We made a promise to meet again. Sarah looked on with a slightly puzzled expression. After that, Casey often said she wanted to see me, so I got to meet with Sarah and Casey frequently. Every time Casey and I met, we talked excitedly about our favorite show, Avengers. I even invited them to my house to watch DVDs and play with toys. At first, Sarah seemed a bit troubled, but as she watched her daughter having fun, she slowly warmed up to me. One day, when Casey fell asleep at my place from playing too much, I bravely confessed to Sarah. Sarah, I like you, so could we maybe be in a real relationship, not just pretend? She looked surprised for a moment, but her expression remained stern. I'm sorry, I appreciate your feelings, but I still can't forget my past boyfriend. Still, I didn't back down. I'm not asking you to forget him, but I want you to see me too. It's okay if I'm not the first in your heart. I just want to be by your side. After saying that, she looked down in silence. Then, after a while, she spoke softly. Really, you're okay with that? Of course. I replied. Even if she doesn't love me yet, just being able to meet her sometimes makes me happy. I'm hoping that, maybe in the future, she'll come to like me even a little bit. Then one day, Sarah, Casey, and I had arranged to meet to see Avengers show. I arrived a bit early and was waiting at the station's roundabout. Then our eyes met as Casey descended the station stairs. She let go of Sarah's hand and ran straight towards me. Across the road, I saw a car approaching. Careful! Before I knew it, my body moved on its own. I instinctively hugged Casey to protect her from the oncoming car. The momentum made me fall, hitting my head on the ground, and I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. A warm hand was holding mine on top of the white sheets. Looking up, I saw Sarah's face. You're awake. I'm so relieved. How's Casey? Casey's fine, thanks to you. She doesn't have a scratch, My mom's watching her now." Hearing that, I felt relieved. After that, she went to call the doctor. Soon, the doctor arrived and explained my condition. I had been unconscious for a full day due to a severe head injury, but the tests showed no abnormalities in my brain. I was told I could be discharged immediately. That same day, I left the hospital and returned home. The next day, Sarah came to my house. She was alone. "Where's Casey today?" I left Casey with my mom. I wanted to talk, just the two of us. "What do you want to talk about?" As soon as we entered the room, Sarah started talking. "Thank you so much for saving my daughter," she said. I just did what anyone would." She raised her face to look at me. "Tony, I was so worried while you were unconscious. I couldn't stand the thought. What if you never woke up?" As she spoke, tears began to fall. "I didn't want you to die at all. I wanted you to always be by my side. I realized I wanted to be with you. I've never felt this way since I lost him." "Sarah." I gently placed my hand on her shoulder to comfort her. She leaned on my shoulder and cried. After a good cry, she looked into my eyes and said, "I'm so glad you're alive. I've realized, I think I like you. When I thought I might lose you, I understood for the first time how important you have become to me. And Casey loves you too. Would you become Casey's father?" It was her proposal to me. "Yes, of course, I'd be happy to. I look forward to being with you forever," I said, squeezing her hands tightly. I could feel tears rolling down my cheeks. Later, when Casey found out I would become her father, she was overjoyed. "Tony being my dad, I'm so happy," she said, hugging me tightly. I gently lifted her small body onto my lap. "I'm happy too, Casey. I'm looking forward to it." "Yeah, now we can play Avengers anytime." She struck a pose. I tickled her, and she laughed joyfully. Watching this, Sarah looked incredibly happy. I decided then and there to make these two happy for the rest of my life.